Hey everybody, I hope you don't mind. I brought some cookies to eat while I talked about this, so I might talk with my mouth full on this one, but I figure we're just going to keep this casual. Yeah, so I'm sure you guys saw the news that the HasLab Cookie Monster didn't get funded. And I held off doing a video when they announced the Cookie Monster because after the whole barge thing, I thought, no, I know what's going to happen. One of two things will happen, but I don't want to say it, ahead of time because guess what? People are just going to rag me out and tell me what a hater I am and tell me how negative I am. But based on the barge, I knew there could be one of two possibilities. Either this thing was going to, mysteriously and miraculously get funded after a whole month or 2 months or 3 months or whatever it's been of sitting way under the number of backers that they wanted, just like the barge. Because if you recall, the barge was about 400 backers under the night before it was supposed to be over. And then all of a sudden, it was a few thousand under leading up into the final week. And then it got within 250 or something. And then suddenly the last night, it just jumped up, 200 past. It went like 400 hit it all at the same time, and boom. And then suddenly it was overfunded, which was really dicey. And so I thought, well, that could ostensibly happen to the Cookie Monster project, even though the Cookie Monster project really made no sense at all. Because I'm sitting there, watching them announce this thing going, look, I know people love Jim Henson, and Muppet Show has a huge following. Master Replicas did a Kermit photo puppet replica a few years ago. But a friend of mine who has that Kermit puppet was aghast at the Cookie Monster, not only the choice of character, but also the price, because the Kermit was only about $150 and this Cookie Monster was $300. And as a Henson enthusiast, he was like, that's still way too much, especially for a character that nobody's been asking for. Everybody wants Gonzo, they want Animal, they want the Muppet Show characters, and I'm sure there are characters like the Count from Sesame Street that people would really have paid for, but Hasbro didn't do that. And I sit there going, well, who was the genius in the Hasbro boardroom that said, oh my God, Cookie Monster's got a huge adult fan following. We've got to get a Cookie Monster out there. Because I'd have been the first person to stand up and say, that's insane. There aren't enough adult lovers of Sesame Street to the point. We all love Sesame Street. I mean, these are my childhood Sesame Street plushies right here. I had a Cookie Monster too with a pull string, but I can't find him for this video. But we're also adults who are like, well, maybe we'll get a few DVD sets, but as far as collecting new stuff related to Sesame Street that is not for a child, who's going to do that? I mean, at $300? And so, the thing ran on, and the months ran out or whatever it was for this Kickstarter, which how I feel about the whole HasLab Kickstarter thing anyway. It's dumb. They should have done like Master Replicas for this piece and said, we're limiting this to 500 and we're putting it out at this price, and then just let the chips fall where they may. But they're doing this whole Kickstarter thing, which really makes no sense. So Cookie Monster was totally underbacked the whole time. I mean, this thing never got over 600 backers, and they wanted some crazy amount. It was like 5,000 backers or something like that. Like, it was really stupid. And, you're sitting there watching this thing, and I'm wondering the night before, I'm like, is this thing suddenly going to jump up, by 600-700 backers, or in the case of, the sail barge proportionately, is this thing going to suddenly have 4,000, 5,000 new backers overnight? And I woke up this morning and I checked it, and oddly, it was under. It had dropped by it had dropped by like 510 subscribers, which I was like, oh, is that people bailing out after it's over? Or as it's about to be over, and people just, even though you're not going to pay if it doesn't get funded, they're paranoid and they just pull their money out officially anyway? Or is that the number of bots that they had put in there to inflate the number to try and prompt more people to pledge? And again, I don't know. I'm not trying to drum up. This isn't a conspiracy level thing, but this is what corporations do, that to market their garbage. And I'm sure they wanted to try and, get people excited about this by showing them that there was a significant number of backers. So there's two theories on that. It's either over 515 people got paranoid that they were going to take their money anyway, that Hasbro would take their money regardless of it not getting backed, and they backed out. Or that was around 515 Hasbro bots that were trying to get people excited. Because when I saw the final number sitting there, 62 backers, I was like, yeah, that sounds about right. That seems like the amount of people within the United States, because of course, HasLab doesn't ship around the world. That seems like the amount of people that would actually back that at that price point, who would also be Sesame Street, enthusiasts to that degree. It just blows me away because, when I saw the trailer, I was like, there's no way this thing's getting back. There's no way unless Hasbro pulls shenanigans. Which now brings us to Unicron, because Unicron is currently sitting at, I think, just under or just over 3,000 backers, and they want 8,000 backers for Unicron. $600. But the thing that just floors me about Unicron is the fact that it is horrendously insulting to make any Transformer a U.S. shipped only item. Transformers is loved around the world as a property. It knocks down language barriers. It knocks down race barriers. It doesn't have a religious angle. It doesn't even have a cultural issue as far as like people not being able to relate to it. Transformers has proven itself to be massive around the world. And the collectors of Transformers, who are solely into Japanese robots, they will collect Transformers at any and every price point. So why on earth would this be teased as maybe we'll do it if we get 8,000 people to back us? All you have to do is say, this is limited to 5,000 people, or this is limited to 6,500 units. We're going to make 6,500 of these and that's it, and watch them fly off the shelves or fly off the internet or whatever. Transformers? Are you kidding me? You don't need to put a Transformer behind a paywall, regardless of the price. They'll pay for it, and that's because they're passionate collectors. I do not understand what Hasbro is doing. I don't understand what they're thinking. I don't understand where they're going with this HasLab thing, because unless they pull shenanigans on this one in the final hours, because it's got about 6 or 8 days left to go, this Unicron thing, unless they pull shenanigans like they could have done with the barge, which the barge was a narrower margin by the last day, but the last week it still had about 1,000 people to go, and it hadn't made it. Unless they pull some serious shenanigans, I don't think this thing is gonna fly off and get made either. HasLab is now very likely 1 for 3. And I'm not gonna say what I think is gonna happen with Unicron. I'm gonna say it's one of two things is gonna happen. Either there's gonna be shenanigans in the background, and miraculously you're gonna get 5,000 more subscribers in a week, or pledgers, or whatever you want to call it, 5,000 pledges in a week, or it's not gonna get made. And I just But you know what? Hasbro wanted to do this way, regardless of the illogic of it. This whole paywall thing, they don't want to ship to people outside the US, which then limits the number of buyers further. It has already insulted 2 fan bases, and they've roped in a franchise for premium products that literally nobody wants at that price point, this Cookie Monster thing. I hope they get used to failure, because that's what they've set themselves up for, both here and then in the broader spectrum with, a lot of the products they've been putting out. But, I guess that's just the way the cookie crumbles.